There we go. Okay. So it is Wednesday, June. Wow, June 28th. June is almost over. 10:13 Central Time. And we are doing week 11. What's the case called?
Juice.
Rent juice case. Yeah. Okay. So do you want to go ahead and start us out with our first question, I guess?
With the what?
With the first question?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
Oh, no. Okay, so vote individually. Should David raise money now? Yes or no? I put no. That right now he should just focus on getting his company put together first and like focusing their needs, because I think wasn't it in their plan that their goal was to reach out to like landlords and individuals, but like that was their target market, but they never got around to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been so focused on the big brokerage companies.
Mm-hmm. And so they have enough money for 8 more months, I believe, so they can get is that what it's called? Real life? Real time?
Yeah.
Going, and then once they start that process, I guess they can begin to raise money, but I think they just need to figure out sales and like the inside things first, because it seems like they're kind of just burning through capital. And
okay.
Also, they didn't really have a plan to raise funds, I believe. Like their priority was just to R&D for real time. And like we learned from like past cases that raising money for a new round is always like a huge distraction that like lasts forever. Like it takes a lot of time and effort to raise or to have a plan and to raise money for like a seed round kind of thing.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I actually said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I put, let's see here. If they can set it up like they did, what was that case study? Buzz agents, the BZZ agents, whatever, where they make the terms and they see who takes it. I pay like if they can do that, if they can get the decent terms that they ask for, and the equity owners can agree on those terms, then they could use that to that fundraising. They could use 3/4 of that to get rent juice real time out on the market. And then they can just use the leftover for updating, marketing, hiring more staff. And they also talked about how they wanted to relocate to the East Coast. So using that to relocate. That's why mine was yes, with a conditional yes.
Well, the way I saw it was, the only reason I put no is because if they were to try to like raise more capital now, I feel like their company evaluation wouldn't be very good at all, just because their sales are really bad. If they want a better evaluation, they'd have to like increase sales and like and like that. That's and it kind of goes like into the second part, like why do investors care about like customer lifetime value and like customer acquisition costs and things like that? Is because all sales feed into what your return on investment is. And so obviously their sales aren't as good. And so, if you can say that it costs like $50 for a new customer, but the lifetime value is $300, because you can put that into a formula, and like once you've got it figured out and proven, you know, and like you have that formula set in stone, like then you just need money to grow the business. And so if you have that proven formula, you've already shown that you can scale the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you want the customer to stay forever, because like as long as you have them, they'll make you money. And so that's why it's kind of important for investors to see like, oh, you have this formula that you know how much like money or how long you'll have this customer and how much money they'll make you. Then you can scale it, kind of thing. So that's why I said that like they just kind of need to wait and like focus on their sales before they go out and try to like raise capital.
I can definitely see that. And waiting too, they can really give them maybe a better idea of an annual churn rate, because that could change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you convinced me. So, good job on that.
Didn't go into sales and marketing for nothing.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So
the product market fit, I didn't understand that.
What question is that?
Okay, I think that was just one I got off of and the pre.
Oh.
Yeah, so we can. I guess that's not on the group discussion, so we can. Okay, so what is the customer lifetime value of a rent juice customer? And that, just like you helped me on with the formula, is ended up being 10,421, right?
Yep. That's what I got.
Okay. Then here. Okay. So you want to tackle the question number 3?
Which one is? Oh, that's the how well the sales funnel.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it wasn't the worst, but it can definitely be better, considering what did it say? From 100 people, where is it at? Out of 100 like leads, they really ended up only with 2 actual subscribers. And so for like that's the per month, right? Like their average per month. I don't think it's the worst, but I think getting better salespeople and doing better at keeping your customers, like they would have a better chance. I think having just the right sales force for them would improve that number a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, then I think also maybe it talked in there, you could tell he really thought about this a lot. Was are we giving them the right things to say when they take the calls? Do they have the right? Are they asking the right questions? Mm-hmm. Determine whether or not they have the right customer. Was it the right customer or?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, he was talking about finding out later on that they that they were getting the wrong types of customers or something like that. So making sure, well, yeah, training, I guess, is what it comes down to. I think that's something that stills up progress, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, just going back and like getting the right sales force on board would help them a lot. Or even, I think, I don't know if the case said that they had.
Now in the case, they were completely commission based, weren't they? Oh, that's just me. Okay. Oh, popped up for a second and you went like, oh. Okay. All right.
Sorry, I think I accidentally hit something.
Oh, that's okay.
Like playing around, like switch back and forth between screens. But like I said, did they talk about any kind of training for their sales?
Did let's see here, where was it? Yeah, so the company had a 1-week training program for new analysts, is what they called them. Even though they're not analysts, they're just salesmen. Man, it's so deceiving. So the training program covered all facets of the product, market, and target customers, and used role playing to simulate typical selling situations. And then I really like this is his thought. You could really tell he put a lot of thought into this, where he talked about either the funnel needs to be wide enough or conversion rates need to be high enough. I think there's a pretty fine balance there, because you don't want to be saying the wrong things and have a huge funnel, but at the same time, you don't. And this is something I learned as a missionary: is you don't want to. What is it called? You don't want to, I guess, saturate a very small market with a single. I don't know how to describe it, but their funnel needs to be wide enough to where they're not calling the same people over and over again. I guess that's the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like he made it really competitive for him. Yeah. Okay. So,
how should Rivera respond to the new competition? What did you get for that one?
Okay. I think that creating Rent Juice real time is a great idea. They've got a little bit of experience now, and they can use that experience and they can use that S of Rent Juice to back up their real time product. It's kind of like, you create a name for yourself, and then you can use that name to back up your other product. I guess the way I relate it is like movies, like how they'll say from the producers of Shrek, or from the producers of whatever movie, because you're like, oh, sweet, it's people that made this movie, so it's probably going to be a really good movie. That's kind of my idea behind it. So I think they've been planning on doing it all along, but this is kind of just like a it's kind of that extra boost to get them there. So I think they should do it.
So when it comes to like competition, like new competition, do you think they shouldn't worry about them at all? Then they should just focus like on themselves.
That's a good question I did not ask myself, so I don't have the answer to that. What do you think? Oh, and you disappeared. Okay. Are you there yet? Are you back? Hello?
Was I the one that froze up?
Hello? No, if you were the one or I the one, I know you disappeared for a little bit off of my screen at least. It may be my connection.
But I don't know if you heard any of that.
You had a really good question that I couldn't answer. What was that? Could you repeat that question again?
Yeah, it's just about how do you think they should respond, if at all, to like new competition?
Well, there's a question after that you had asked, I believe.
Do you think they should not worry about them at all?
Oh, okay.
They should just focus on like like R&Ding on real time and just kind of not worrying about anyone else.
No, I would say no, just because I think any company, you should know if you should know your competitors and not tactics necessarily, but what are your competitors doing that you are maybe not doing? Or I think it's a good idea to competition and see what they're doing, maybe doing differently that's more successful, or what are they doing differently that maybe your idea is more successful than their idea that they're doing differently. That way you know that's definitely not a route that you want to take down the future. So I think it's a good idea to keep an eye on the competition. But at the same time, I think that they should try to focus on getting this real time out into the market. I think for now they should focus on his idea of what he's got has seemed to be pretty successful. It looks like the customers are pretty happy with the product. So I think keeping with their own ideas seems to be pretty successful so far. So I would say keeping their own ideas for real time could bring them some good success. At the same time, I wouldn't just not look at the competition.
Yeah. And I think
yeah, go ahead. How would you answer that question?
Depends, because like anything, I feel like you should, like you said, like always just keep an eye out on like the competition. Not exactly like, oh, they're, doing better than us, let's, copy them. Just kind of seeing, like, watching to see like, oh, they did this, this, and this. They ended up doing poorly, or they did this, this, and this, and it, they ended up monetizing, better, like, So I think it helps to just kind of keep an eye out and just see like which processes you could possibly implement or tweak a little bit to fit your company. If it works, if you see that it works for some other kind of business. But I think you shouldn't just totally, completely ignore it,
Yeah. No, I think, I think competition is great. I think it in this case, since this is kind of what they're doing, I don't know if, given the time period, it's new what they're doing. And competition is a good thing, because it means more people will start to look at the idea that you brought up because someone else is using that same idea. So it may just end up strengthening your idea. So that's kind of what I think of competition, I guess.
Yeah. Same. I think
All
that's
right.
today, actually.
Are those all the questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're supposed to decide on a course of action. So course of action.
Like of what our final, like the final decision was?
I guess, yeah. Should they decision as in decision? I'm assuming decision to
invest or
make Rent Juice real time.
I think they should just wait and just kind of focus on R&D, and then focus on sales, and then once they like get that down pat and increase their sales and increase, their what they look like, they can start raising money. But I don't know. What do you?
Okay. Oh, so you're deciding an action for raising money or not raising. Okay. Yeah. I see that. I was thinking, I was asking for if they should create real time. What is it called? Rent Juice real time or not? That's what I thought I was asking. But no, as far as raising money now, I can see your point how they'd probably want to hold off on that, especially for valuation purposes, if they want a better valuation. I wouldn't say wait too much longer though.
Yeah, no.
But maybe another year. All right, cool beans. So I'm pretty sure we do have another case study due on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I guess we can plan on meeting then.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Sounds good, and I will make sure to send you the recording.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
All right. We'll see you.